Welcome to a captivating interview with two remarkable individuals with us. We have Dr. Anjali Chhabria, leading psychiatrist and psychotherapist known in her field of mental health. And with her, we have Atul Khatri, one of the country's leading stand up comedian whose humor transcends boundaries. Guys, welcome to a very interesting and a very laughter filled conversation.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Congratulations, first of all, on your show, The Shrink and the Nut. It's absolutely fabulous. The concept is so remarkable. And I'm telling you, I was so gobsmacked, like I was telling you earlier before the interview, like nobody has thought of it. And I'm so glad you all have thought of it. What was it that led you all to think about it? And like, can you tell us something about it?
So basically, it started, I think, in the year 2018, correct? 2018.
Yeah.
I actually lost a friend to suicide.
Okay.
One of my neighbors, I not very close to me, but I used to see him around and all that. And one fine day, I came to know he had passed away. And then on further, when I went for his 4th-day ceremony, I came to know he passed away due to suicide. And he was absolutely okay from outside, and so that got me thinking that what compels a person, like you and me, if we try to put a knife on a finger also,
It hurts,
so just the thought of what a person is going through that made him commit this thing. So fortunately, I have a sister, Dr. Anjali Chhabria, who also had written a book, probably which is India's first book on how to prevent suicide. It's called Death is Not the Answer.
Yes.
So I spoke to Anjali, and then I got to know more, and I said, hey, let's do something about it. So one of the biggest, I would say, people who suffer through depression, young people, what age would they be approximately?
18 to 30.
18 to 30, probably
Very,
people in
very
college
high
and
prevalence
this and
of
that. So I said, let's do something to reach out to schools, colleges together. And so that's why we thought of this thing called the Shrink and the Nut. It was held by the Rotary Club, and we started doing this. And I think in that period, we addressed close to, I think, 30,000 students.
Wow.
Wow.
That's
And
awesome.
now we have taken it to corporates and things like that. And, because there is so much still stigma, there is still so
That's
much
true.
uncertainty. People don't know where to go in case there is a mental health issue. And so I think that's how we started it. And I'm so glad that we could address to so many people. And
Wow.
yeah.
So like you said, there's so much stigma attached to it. Like it's so taboo. It's not even like it's overlooked. It's a taboo in our society. People say, "Acha, don't tell people you're low or depressed. Isko chupa ke rakhna." And or they say, "You're fine." They brush it under the carpet. Dr. Anjali, what for the layman, in layman terms, for the armed janta, for the ordinary people like us, what do they need to know about mental health, and what are the key points that they need to understand or be aware of?
So, first of all, 1 in 7 people in India is currently suffering.
1 in
from
7.
1 in 7 from a mental health condition.
Wow.
Okay, that means it could be your family, my family, right?
Any family.
And what happens is people don't talk about it. Now, because people don't talk
Sorry.
about it, and everyone has an opinion. Today if I prescribe a medication, you go to the chemist will look at you and say,
So
"आप ये
give me
दवाई
it."
क्यों खा रहे हो?"
Yeah.
Your family doctor will say, "Go for a holiday." Your
Yeah.
chachi, your masi, everybody has an
Very
opinion.
true.
So true.
Very
You
true.
know, and because of that, the person is so anyway scared to come to see a psychiatrist. So when I meet people, they say, "Oh, for 2 years we've been thinking of coming to meet you." And my first thing is, do I look so scary that you're thinking for 2 years? And that is the stigma. So can you imagine a child suffering? I mean, he
Yes.
doesn't even know where to go. A youngster, people say, नहीं ये तो बहाने कर रहा है.
और ये इतना छोटा इसको कैसे हो सकती है
इसको क्या डिप्रेशन है? हमने इतनी लाइफ देखी है, हमें तो डिप्रेशन कभी नहीं हुआ.
Yes.
Or a new mother, postpartum
Yes.
disorders are
Yes,
so
yes.
common, but she's not allowed to complain.
That's so true.
So there is so much stigma, and that is the problem that we first need to address. And thanks to him, we've been reaching out to colleges, corporates. Our last
wonderful.
corporate show, we had 10,000 people, so we've
Wow.
not even
Awesome.
counted that in the
Yeah.
But
So we've been trying to do our bit, hoping that people get up and people say, okay, I need to see a psychiatrist, and there's no shame.
what is
True,
the
very
first thing that you think, or the first sign, or how when you think, like, we really don't even know sometimes that we are under depression or having any mental health issues? What should we look out for?
So, see, the first thing is the sleep disturbance. You know, your sleep, normally when people's mental health is good, they can just sleep well, right? So, when your sleep gets impacted, either you're finding it difficult to fall asleep, or you wake up in the middle of the night, or you get up in the morning and you're like, you know, worried and you don't feel like
Not rested.
not rested. Okay, that's the first thing. Then the second is loss of interest in all activities, including pleasurable activities. You know, I have to go for a birthday party and I'm like,
Like you
"Kaun
just don't feel
jayega?"
like it.
I don't feel like doing anything.
Yes.
I don't feel like going to work. I don't feel like talking to my friends or family.
Yeah,
I
for
have
the-
phones coming. I don't want to answer it. You know? So
true.
these are some of the very, very common signs. And what do people do? You know, they resort to sleeping pills, they resort to alcohol, you know, and they just keep popping those tablets in. And the thing is, imagine if I have fever and I keep taking paracetamol for 2 months.
Yes. We're
Right.
not
What are
really.
you going to do?
You know,
Yes, true.
that's
true.
not the answer,
Very
that's
true.
not the
Not at
solution. Or I have a drink, you know, and I hide alcohol because I don't want my family to know that I'm drinking.
Eventually, it becomes an addiction, though, right? Because you're
Yes.
popping the paracetamol or having that drink, and
Yeah.
it becomes
Yeah.
just.
And what is happening is the problem is growing within you,
The numbers are increasing.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
they've
yeah,
been
yeah.
far more.
you know.
So, Atul, asking you, what, according to you, are the most significant challenges that women face in society today, and what should be done to address these challenges?
I think women in India specifically face a lot more challenges than maybe a woman
Anywhere
abroad.
else,
Yeah,
yes.
you know. I mean, I don't know. I think if we are three women, I think you are the best people to answer this. You know what it is right from, you know, I would say right from an early age, you know, there could be body shaming issues. There could
Yes,
be,
yes,
you
yes.
know, color of the skin issues. And
yes,
as they grow
yes.
up, you know, they see her, I mean, they see her brother going everywhere, but the girl is not allowed to
Go, yeah.
you know, for party and, and, you know, so there are definitely very different standards for boys and girls in this country, you know,
Right.
That's
and
so true,
right from an early age.
I'll
you know.
share something. Whenever I would win a nice car, people would say, "Atul ko mila hoga." Oh my God! Yes.
Because I was more intelligent than her.
You know, or if I had to go for a party, I had to beg him or my elder brother, please take me. And they would harass me so much. 1 week ahead, they will say, "Acha, ye de to we'll take you. Acha, aise kar to
That's
do
always
your
the
homework."
case,
Yeah.
yeah.
So that is what would happen.
What would you give me back?
Yeah,
I'll tell
yeah,
mom
yeah,
and dad.
yeah.
I
Yeah.
think we've all been through that.
So, Dr. Anjali, tell me, how do you relate women empowerment, mental health to women empowerment, and how important is to address this intersection?
So, see, first of all, an empowered woman, it could be a housewife or the ruler of a country.
True.
You know, she understands, she emphasizes, and she empathizes more with everybody around her.
True.
You know, so
True.
obviously, an empowered woman, whether it is, you know, the maid who's doing your work at home, or, you know, a prime minister or the head of a hospital, is definitely going to take everybody ahead. Why only women?
Correct.
You know,
True,
and
very true.
then you will see, like, you know, just if your maid is empowered today, her kids are going to be mentally healthy. When they go to school, they will radiate happiness around them. They will study well, they will do well.
So true.
So, and this, I think, transcends into any society that
Like they
you
say,
can
educate a
take.
woman, you educate a tribe or a
Yeah, you
village.
have-
Absolutely. And if you keep a happy,
Oh.
a happy, educated woman is definitely the
Yeah,
best.
absolutely.
And empowered women also, I think, keeps, you know, their men in check.
Oh, please tell us.
Yeah, she has no fear. No, I'll just walk
Yeah,
out.
just walk out.
Absolutely.
Jo karna hai kar.
Like, you know, I just saw this, there's this famous TV serial called Made in Heaven, the season
Oh,
2,
yes, yes.
where this, the daughter is lesbian, she's going to get married, and she goes to her mother and says, mother's obviously parents are not agreeing. And on the day of the marriage, the lady just gets ready and starts walking off. The husband
I
says,
love
where are you
that.
going? He's saying, I'm going for a daughter. He's saying, you know, we are not going. I told you. He's saying, who are you to tell me where I should go, not to go, you know?
Yes.
And she's probably in the 60s, you know, and
Yeah,
that's what I think empowerment, I'll do what I want, you
Absolutely.
know.
No
Which
age.
is absolutely
Age is so
fair.
far.
Yeah.
And Atul, stand-up comedy is all about or not maybe not all about, but finding humor in everyday situations.
Correct.
And this is actually for both of you all. In everyday, in some point in your life, have you all ever used humor to maybe heal your wounds, emotional wounds, or to cover up what you're feeling or your emotions?
Yeah, see, stand-up is really about that. A lot of comedians use that very often. You've gone through some trauma, and the stage is the only way. We have a voice.
Yes.
Fortunately, we have a stage. We have a mic. We can go and express those emotions. Obviously, there has to be some humor in it or some elements of humor in it. Like I remember, like I lost my dog around 4 years back, and we were all emotionally shattered. Because I think losing a pet is always very, very this. And I didn't know what to do. So in the evening, I went for a comedy show, and I just went up on stage, just spoke 2 minutes about him, but it just made me feel more happier. I just said I lost a dog and this, and the audience is always very empathetic towards you, and so I think that's a emotion, that's a release which we have, which you can go on stage and obviously talk about a lot of more things, because that's what a comedian does. He goes on stage and exposes his entire self to unknown people, And the idea is, and you'll be surprised sometimes. Random people sitting in the audience are relating to you, because they've also been through the same emotion. It could be such a small thing, but sometimes people come to you with so many like small things. It's some part in your set which you never thought about. It will be so deeply attached to that person, unknown stranger sitting in front of you. Yeah.
When his daughter had a breakup, guess what he told her?
Yeah, that's this thing. So I remember once I was in a show, my wife called her, where are you, come home. So what happens? My daughter, she broke up with a boyfriend. And I rushed home, and all both my daughters and wife sitting in a room and crying, And I said, what happened? She's saying this. And so my first thought was, because at that time I was using the boyfriend's Netflix password. I was sharing it. So I said, shit, what will happen to my Netflix password? And my wife they burst out laughing, and then they said, what's wrong with you? She's broken a relationship, you just brought her about a Netflix password.
Why am I not surprised with this?
But I think that's so fantastic. I think that kind of must have actually
Lightened
lightened
it
up.
Absolutely.
And I mean, we just lost our mom a few months ago, okay, and we decided, I mean, of course she was 84, she had 4 great grandkids, and we thought we'll celebrate her life. And he's actually at the 4th day ceremony done a stand-up.
Oh, wow.
Which was...
She said, my mom used to love my comedy. Like she used to make some silly jokes. She used to just keep on laughing and things like that. I said, what better tribute than to do a small set about her life, about her thing.
No, but that's beautiful, and it must have required so much strength.
Yeah.
The Shrink and the Nut is such an interesting name. How did it come about?
So, we thought that since you're going to schools, colleges to address about this very serious topic about mental health issues, Anjali has been obviously going to the school. So when there's even a student, just imagine a student in the college, seeing a poster that Dr. Anjali Chhabria, psychiatrist, coming to talk about mental health issues, they will not really come in. But we gave it a quirky name, Shrink and the Nut. And people know me as a comedian. So it's basically just her talking, because I'm not a mental health expert. But just both of us, we go on stage, we make the audience more comfortable first. And you'll be surprised that when we started doing it initially, when we open it up for Q&A with the audience, and what kind of questions come up, and I was surprised myself. I used to always think that Anjali's maybe overthink that people don't know about mental health. We did a Shrink and the Nut session for doctors.
Wow, really?
And you'll be surprised, a regular MBBS doctor in his entire 4-5 years of curriculum, mental health is maybe just a 50-mark question in this entire syllabus. That's
So
it.
true.
So even doctors, GPs don't know about too much about mental health issues, So a lot of eye-openers thanks to Anjali, and I think, we'll be doing many more of these.
Yeah, I think that's so commendable and so amazing. It's amazing. And, you said so many questions are asked, and, even doctors don't know. And we have so many myths about it and misconceptions about it. I think there are more myths and misconceptions than understanding.
Exactly.
So what would be, what are they?
First of all, when someone falls mentally ill, okay, people always need to know why this has happened, okay. Someone will say कि भूत प्रेत ने किया है, and you will be surprised. 50% of people coming to us have first consulted, have gone to some Baba, and it's horrible. It's horrible because you'll have young girls who are taken to people who have abused them, and young girls and boys, right? So these are some of the misconceptions, and then the misconceptions about medication. आपकी दवाई तो सिर्फ हमको नींद आएगी. आप एक बार दवाई शुरू करोगे, all our life we'll be taking medicines. And that is something that, we are dealing with on a day-to-day basis. Now I've just started picking up the phone and, even calling up doctors and saying, please do not comment on my medication. Because, just imagine if somebody has had a suicide attempt, right from the police who will reach the scene and treat you like a criminal, even though suicide is not a crime. Okay.
But isn't that come under the criminal code?
Not now.
Not
No.
Okay,
It's out.
Okay.
But first the police will come and harass you and look at you as if you've done something. Then the family doctor has an opinion. Take them for a family, take him or her for a holiday. Then everybody will look at you as if...
has some opinion.
Yeah, I mean, come on, if you have dengue, do people look at you as if you've committed a crime? If you're in depression, there are some, it's very simple. The circuits of your brain are not working properly.
Well, yes.
So you need treatment for it. You don't need 30, 40 opinions of people who don't even know anything.
With women, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you.
No,
With women, I've also noticed, especially young girls, unko depression hota hai, they're feeling unhappy or something, low or something. The parents or the relatives are like, हाँ इसकी तो शादी करा दो, get her married. What is that solution? So can you please say something to people when they say that? Like it's...
I mean, come on, marriage is not a solution to typhoid, to malaria.
On a lighter note, marriage gets you into serious depression. As Atul would say it, I'm sorry.
I mean, you need to be top of your mental health to be able to take on marriage.
Absolutely. So correct.
Well, I'm happy. I don't know about you guys, but...
There's a good husband, keeping himself safe.
Are you saying maybe a good wife? Show, or you actually mean it?
Or a fantastic, fantastic wife. Yeah,
wonderful. So Atul, humor has been used to address social causes.
Yeah.
How would you say that humor can be used to address women empowerment or gender equality?
Oh, in many, many ways. Many, many ways. First of all, in the last so many years, we have seen in India, specifically in India, and all over the world, actually, somehow stand-up comedy, the art form, was very male-dominated. But now we are seeing more and more voices from women, and because honestly, only a woman, me talking about women's empowerment doesn't make sense. I'm a male, people won't even, it's like crazy, I can't even talk about because I have not experienced what they have been through. But a woman coming out and talking about it, and what has happened is, like, thanks to, like initially in India, the entire, all the comedians in India, stand-up would fit into one WhatsApp group. And that time the WhatsApp group limit was 50. I'm talking about it.
Right.
Now there are hundreds and thousands, people coming from villages, people coming from small towns, in different languages. There are different languages. People are coming out with, earlier it was stand-up comedy in India was very English, very urban, very niche.
Correct.
But now you have comedians from all languages and women comedians. And I think it's going to open up more because the women voices has to be heard. And already so many women comedians are there and they're doing such an amazing job of talking about their issues, and rightfully, and I think stand-up comedy is a great platform to talk about many of these things.
Wonderful. Comedy, humor, anxiety, depression. Dr. Anjali, tell me, what are the signs to look out for? The silent signs, I would say, when it comes to depression and anxiety in women.
So first of all, a woman stops feeling confident. Okay, as it is, a lot of women, especially when they come from homes which are not open, or which are male dominated, they are anyway scared to raise their voice. And here there can be an anxiety, a dirty feeling. Anxiety is a dirty feeling. We tell people that when you're going for an exam, that feeling that you have. Now imagine if you have that feeling the entire day. And that interferes in what you want to do, so your confidence, anxiety, and then you can have disturbances in sleep and appetite. Either you overeat, either you just want to starve yourself. Eating disorders, so common, more in women than in men, and then constantly being afraid of putting on weight. These are some of the small signs that may come up. Of course, the thoughts are negative. You know, there are thoughts of helplessness, hopelessness. You know, eventually we tend to tell you that why am I even living? Is there any
Yes.
point of me
Yes.
living?
Yes.
You know, and
Yes.
then there could be what we call as chronic suicide. So suppose I'm a diabetic, I will not take my medication. If I'm a hypertensive, I will stop taking my medication. And somewhere the thought is, I hope I don't get up in the morning.
It's sometimes
You know?
so difficult, but to get out of bed, you know, just that
Absolutely.
effort of getting out of bed is so difficult,
Yes,
right?
yes, yes. You know,
How do you make people understand that? Because they think, what is wrong with you? Tum padi, why are you lying in bed? you
नाटक कर
know?
रही है.
Yeah, exactly. Padi
know?
hui ho, utho,
Yeah.
karo.
Yeah,
And they just don't understand that there's that darkness that is enveloping you. And
yeah. Go out and exercise. I mean,
Yeah.
if I could exercise, I would have
Exactly.
exercised.
Who wants to be lying around like that, or like sulking and being
Yeah.
depressed or
Yeah.
You know, the shrink in the nut, as you said, we started now addressing corporates also. And so even the corporates have to start, you know, understanding that if a woman employee is not coming for 2 days
Wow.
and she can say very clearly that I'm going through a mental health issue, they should also empathize with her and say, okay, take your leave, take your thing out. We have counselors. Do you want help within the office? Because a lot of these big organizations do have mental health counselors who can help you,
yes.
you know. So it's, if one is the family, one is the workplace also. They should also understand, recognize, and maybe help you, you know, in some of these situations.
And mental health also, like you said, you know, she's taking those 2 days off. I think also has a lot to do with which people don't understand is PMS.
Maybe,
Or even
yeah.
menopause
Yes,
in older
yes,
women who are
yes.
working or non-working. And companies and corporates families need to understand that. It's always like, acha, what is PMS? Ye moodiness to bahana hai. Or menopause, what are these hot flashes? You know, so that stigmatization of it just being something vehem or your imagination needs to go.
Or even, you know, just a married woman who is a mother.
Yes.
Okay, now if she goes through so much stress because at home everything is dependent on her. You know, if she has a family which is understanding her work, they will accept it and they will do what they need to do. But otherwise, she's constantly trying to prove herself. When she's at work, she's saying, oh, I have to do the best. When she's at home, she wants to do the best. And I think where she fails to do the best is looking after herself.
So those are societal expectations vis-a-vis also gender roles, where, like, you know, women are expected to be homemakers. And of course, nowadays, so many women are homemakers and in the workforce,
Right.
whereas men come home and they don't have that much of a burden. And that does take a mental toll on women.
Right.
How can men, you know, Atul, especially, like, how can men support women, motivate them, and, you know, just empower them and help them through this? And also women, how can they balance out their work and their family life while prioritizing their mental health?
I think it's more of, you know, an entire thing. Even the men have to be equally trained, educated about, you know, that, you know, so especially I think in urban places, you know, husband, wife working together, fairly educated. I think the husband realizes that her work is as important as his work, because probably both of them are contributing to the same family income, you know.
Financial,
Yeah, but I know sometimes in these male dominated families it becomes very difficult, honestly, you know, to to take your side of your wife also. Can you imagine a joint family, which are so many in India, you know, and the wife comes half an hour late from work, and then, you know, some unknown random relative staying in your house are just judging her and things like that.
Very true.
And everybody has an opinion, as she says, you know.
Yeah.
So I think men have to get trained equally well, educated equally well on issues like this, you know. And especially now, as you were talking about, work from home has become so common now.
Common now, yeah.
You know, in the COVID, obviously, in post-COVID also, not many organizations have gone back to regular
So
work.
it's
Women
hybrid
are still
or it's-
hybrid or working from home. And working from home issue is more because, as Anjali and me had discussed it in one of the panel discussions, that because now the mother-in-law is happy, oh, my daughter-in-law is at home.
Home,
तो
yeah.
काम
But
कर
probably at
सकते
work from
हैं,
home, she's working more hard. So people who work from home will agree that they were working more hard than what they were working at
It
office,
is.
you know.
No, absolutely.
All that jo commute ka time tha, that also they are working now. There's no commute. Yeah, so,
Yeah, no, it was very, very
so the child is at home, you're looking after the child's school, which is online. Your husband is also at home, the mother-in-law, father-in-law is at home, you're cooking for them now, plus also doing your work, you know. So I think the entire burden, you know, we have to do a lot more for our women to, you know, get out of that. Yeah.
And how can women maintain that balance
So I
while
think-
prioritizing themselves?
So I think it's very important. First of all, all the young women who come to me, I tell them that balance is the key word. Okay, and 2 is prioritize and how to move your priorities. Like, of course, I chose to, I used to make my kids do their homework and all of that. Now, if they had exams, I would just inform at work that, okay, I'm available, but I would probably take the kids to the clinic and we were studying over there for the exams. So I think how we shift our priorities.
Multitasking, yes,
you know.
absolutely.
So, because, and again, a lot of women feel that, oh, but why do I have to bear a child? I said, no, I mean, you have a uterus, so you only have to bear a child. But at the same time, the husband, maybe he can be educated as to how to help in looking after the child.
So
And
true.
I think we need to have these discussions before people get married.
So true.
People spend so much money on everything except what is the most important.
Yes, mental health before.
So counseling
is
a
very
couple.
important. Yes,
Very, very
yes.
important, actually.
Yes.
Otherwise, people just have expectations कि हाँ ये शादी करके पैसे तो मुझे देगी, कमा के मुझे देगी. अरे, have you asked her?
Yeah.
What happens when the child falls sick? Who's going to sit at home and look after the child?
Always falls on the woman.
Exactly.
I guess that's one of the reasons also, if I may say, that the divorce rates have drastically increased in the recent years, haven't they?
Yeah, they have, absolutely.
Because of this conflict of who will and why should
Exactly.
And
I,
women are standing
and,
up for themselves.
Yes.
So, Atul, coming to you, your industry is a very male-dominated industry.
Yeah.
What can male comedians do to kind of amplify the voices of women, the female comedians in the field? Is any effort being put in, or are they struggling to make their own voices heard?
Well, I would suggest, so first of all, the comedy rooms have to be more, I would say, open, warmer to female comedians. It could be as simple thing like when there's a lineup is there, if the female comedian wants to go up first so that she can finish her set and reach home because it gets late to, like I'll give you the example. I was once performing in Delhi. And I was doing, typically Delhi you do shows in like Noida, Delhi and Gurgaon, that's the NCR sector.
Right.
So at Friday, Saturday, Sunday these shows, and on Friday there was this, the opening act was a female comedian. So she came, she opened for my act, she did a 10-minute, typically they are newer comics. So while I was we were dropping her back to, from Noida back to Delhi, she was, same car. I asked her that, and she was doing very far. I said it's commendable because in the Delhi kind of NCR night, going alone, do your parents like this?
Yes.
She said, no, my parents hate this because they said it's too unsafe, raat ko late aati hai wo, and this things like that, So I said, have your parents ever seen your comedy? So she said, no. So I said, tomorrow you're performing in Delhi, please get them. I'll put them on the guest list. Come, let them come. It was anyway Saturday weekend. So you're saying, yeah, good idea. So they came and they saw her daughter. She did very well on stage in front of 300 people. People were laughing, clapping at her thing, So, and then I met the parents and I said, okay, please support her. Which means that maybe at 11:30 you have to go and pick her up from some comedy club. Do that,
absolutely.
That
or
little bit helps.
little bit helps so that she feels, because I said, because we require her voice, and it really helped her, in terms of this. So, and that's the thing, because a lot of Indian parents also don't know comedy is like a new art form. They think, pata nahi kya kar rahe hain, mazak ke liye kar rahe hain. My parents also thought this.
Yeah, actually, how
does it like is it a permanent profession, or is it like tu mazak ke liye kar raha hai? When are you getting back to your regular work? So I think it's very important because people don't know India is changing. There's so many new professions which are coming up, in Bollywood or things like that. So many, like casting director. 10 years back in India didn't exist. Today they say they are the biggest hero of the movie, the casting director. He gave such amazing cast to the entire movie. So just like that, India is changing. Malls are coming, digital, social media. So many new jobs coming up, and parents have to understand that. So it's important for even kids to make their children parents understand what I'm doing, what is it, make them come for a show. I think that's very important.
That's so true.
So true. That's so true.
But I think answering, finally, it's a woman who has to talk
Stand
about
up for her.
and her women.
Yes.
I have not gone through that. It will be unfair for me to talk about a woman I've not gone through PMS or menopause or whatever. Even though my wife keeps on saying that you're always menopausing, but yeah,
You know, there's andropause.
whatever, yeah.
But you know, but that's so interesting. That's why, you know, we really actually want to have men also on our show, because we want women to know that it's not just a woman's fight alone. Like, because it is a fight. Let's face it. We love to say it's not, but it is. So we want them to know that there's this, men are like motivating you, inspiring you, and saying, "Hey, you're doing great, girl." You know, that makes such a difference.
I'll share a personal example. I think when I started practice, again, it was a male-dominated field. So I would go for conferences where there would be 100 men and I'm there alone. Okay, so that was the difference. And I think only once I applied to a hospital, and then finally when we reached, there were two people. One was a male and one was me. And those guys at the panel said, you know, tum itni choti ho, suppose a patient gets violent, how will you defend? So we will employ him.
Oh my.
I said, listen, if you wanted a bouncer, you should have hired a bouncer in the first place. And I'm not doing a sex change to get your job. So all the best, you know. So that has been the kind of struggle, I think, for
all of us somewhere.
Yes,
you know.
Dr. Anjali, tell me, what are the community-based initiatives that one can take up or that you would profess for empowering women in today's society?
I think right from addressing, you know, a young mother, maybe whose mother-in-law or father-in-law is expecting her to have a male child. So I think from there the problem starts, because imagine that poor girl, she has no control of the sex of her child. Actually, it depends on her husband's you know, contribution.
Exactly. Whether he's X or Y.
And but the problem starts there. So I think when we gather these young women together and give them a voice to talk, you know, I did one initiative where I was talking to wives of alcoholics from the slums. Okay, and I got them together and I said, okay, you cannot fight your husband, but what stops you from making a noise so that all the other women come
together?
And they started doing that.
Wow.
Wonderful.
You know, and all they started doing was blocking him out.
Wonderful.
So I think we can start these initiatives anywhere and everywhere, and we must. You know, even taking, say, maybe elderly women together. You know, I had this 70-year-old lady who came and told me that I want to start earning money. I said, what have you done? And she says, nothing. And it all started with, because her husband's friend was coming for tea. And it was the 30th of the month. And she said, you know, I'll need some nashta. Can you give me 50 rupees? She's saying he threw the 50 rupees on me and said, learn to earn money before asking for it.
That is.
She was so upset. So I spoke to her and I told her, I said, okay, how much money do you want to make? She says, I want to make 30,000 a month. And I'm like, wow. And I'm talking about 15 years ago. Okay, so I said, okay, let's start working at it. And guess what she did? She only knew Urdu and she knew English. Okay, 2 hours a day, she would sit on the computer. Someone from the US contacted her and said, I want Urdu to English translation.
Wow, it's giving me goosebumps. That's amazing.
In a month, she came back and I had told her, you know, obviously I didn't charge her any fees. I told her, I said, when you start earning money, you make the 30,000, you have to come back with a Cadbury chocolate, you know. She came back with a Cadbury chocolate and I was like, wow, you know.
That is so fulfilling, yeah.
So I think we have to support them, and the answer comes from within. They just need someone to hear
guide,
you,
yes,
to
and hear them,
believe you.
Yes, I believe in them.
You know,
so
and
true.
to live their dreams. And everybody has dreams, you know, which they have not really spoken about because they don't believe it. And when you start supporting them, there is a change, there's a revolution.
Absolutely.
So what is the, like you're saying, but there is actually not, it's not what is the importance, there is an importance that a woman has to have self-acceptance, self-compassion and self-care. I mean, can you share on how women can do that? Like, you know, take care of themselves, have compassion on themselves.
So first of all, I think they have to stop feeling guilty when they spend some time on themselves. You know, whether it is their sleep or making time to eat. You know, my mother-in-law, fantastic woman, she used to tell me, "Pehle tum khana khao, fir bachcho ko khana do." Because if you don't eat, you're not going to be, you know. The second thing she did was, whenever there were these fasts and things like that, she would say, please don't fast. What you're doing is much greater service than, you know, fasting. She's saying, because if you've not eaten, how will you look after
feed others,
you know, patients? So I think it is the women in the house who have to learn to support
Women.
You know,
women.
whether it's their daughters, whether it's their daughter-in-laws, whether it is, you know, supporting them when they have, when they say, oh, I'm a lesbian,
Yeah.
or
That's-
I want to work, you know, or I don't want to work
yeah.
today.
That's fine too. Yeah.
You know, so I think that is, and the second thing is women should give at least some time in the day to relax, and that could just be picking up the phone and gossiping with some other friends. It's fine, or going for a walk
Doing
themselves, or just
Me time, basically.
very
Absolute me
important.
time.
Me time.
Yeah.
Very important.
Very
Very important.
and not feel guilty about it.
Yes, so true. Otherwise,
Because
it's like, no, I should have been doing this, bachcho ke liye, and for the husband or for the
Exactly.
in-laws. That's
You
so
know?
true.
Atul, tell me, what is the red flag in men that women should be aware of? What is that one red flag?
A lot of red
A
flags.
lot of
actually.
that. I knew he would be saying that.
I would say, I don't know, at different stages of life.
Right.
So, I don't know, yeah, I think there's so many of them. Honestly, there's so many of
there
them.
are too many. Yeah.
It could be, I would say, first of all, how at a dating stage, like it's that scene from the movie Munna by MBBS where he takes you out, how does he treat the waiter who serves him? That's such a small thing.
Yes,
So
yes.
true.
How he is to a different, person who's probably lower than him, how he responds with it. So I think I don't know, there are thousands of red flags. At a marriage stage, it could be how he's at home. Is he like a mama's boy? Or, because that will take years. Because imagine a guy for 25 years has been a mama's boy. Only
now
son in
he's
the
going
house,
to-
everybody
yeah,
pampering him.
yeah,
Suddenly if she's looking at empowerment in that, it will be really difficult,
Very,
Right.
very.
So at very, very, I think,
Suspicious men.
Possessive.
Possessive.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know, वो
That
मुझे इतना
women-
प्यार करता है,
हाँ.
full time he wants to check my phone. Oh my God.
That's the
please
biggest
run away.
red flag.
Run
That's the
away.
biggest red
Possessive, I
flag.
think it's the suspicious men,
That's
which
right.
can really get you
Yeah.
going mentally. Dr. Anjali, tell me that if you were given an opportunity to host a tea party and invite some leading ladies, who would those ladies be?
I think it could be a mixture, okay, of maybe a 90-year-old lady who's always smiling,
Yeah.
and this is one person who probably has just learned to deal with life, and even if her 92-year-old husband is always screaming, she just look at him and she'll say, वो तो उनको गुस्सा आता है. She's not saying मेरे वजह से गुस्सा आता है and trying to, compensate. So I think right from her to maybe different types of women who can share their experiences with each other. Because you can learn from anyone today.
And if I were to say, name some leading personalities, film personalities, or some.
I
prominent-
think film personalities get invited everywhere. but I really admire Wahida ji.
Oh,
And I think she must be 84 today.
yeah.
And
But
she's
she
still-
goes trekking.
Yeah.
The last time I was talking to her, she says, I've started learning how to draw.
Wow.
So imagine, wanting to learn something.
And she's so graceful even at this age.
She just has to enter quietly and everyone just looks at her.
Absolutely.
So I think I really admire her.
What about you, Atul? Which are the 3 women you would like to invite to tea?
Like known women as such, I would like to involve people from different fields. So maybe somebody from Bollywood, maybe somebody like Wahida Rahman. I would like to involve like some call like a Supreme Court advocate, female advocate, because she has seen so many other. If I have to sit on a table and talk to them
Yes.
or to learn from
Yeah,
them,
exactly.
that. And then I would get a kid, like an 18-year-old girl, just getting into college, just probably in college,
A fresh new perspective.
Yeah, to get, because I fortunately have 2 daughters and I get so much insights from them, into what people like. Thanks to them, I have learned so much, because see, I'm an old school thought. Like sometimes you write something which you don't think is wrong, but if you look from her perspective, from their perspective, from a young person, it's very wrong, Like
Yeah, they have a totally different.
different, and
outlook to
they have
things.
probably more woke, I would
Yeah.
say. So they teach you. So you have,
Yeah,
thanks to them, you
yes.
have
So much learned
you
from
have
them.
unlearned and also learned so much. You have decided, okay, no, you can't talk about these things. And as a kid, in a school like Bombay, a fat guy throughout his life he called him Motu. A guy with specs, used to call him, double battery.
Yeah, we wouldn't
A guy who was slightly dark, we used to call him, you didn't realize. Now you realize what that poor guy would have been through in school of 12 years of constantly every guy calling
those
him.
mental scars remain
There. So now probably, so I think people say that this is wokeism too much, but I think it's good. Because you didn't
learn to
realize
be
that
more
how it could
concerned.
have been, hurting somebody, and it was for you is just a slang, and you just get away with that. So I think I would involve these three different, people just to understand
Interesting.
what their views are and how they,
And you are also at home surrounded by three beautiful
Beautiful women,
Yeah.
yeah.
And now in comedy, what is the one stereotype of women that you would like to do away with? That, okay, yeah, I mean, this is like crossing the line, or it has crossed the line.
I know there are so many stereotypes. I think I'm pretty, right from beginning, since I started doing comedy, I was fairly aware that there are some things you really cannot, talk about, But what happens sometimes is, see, in comedy, it's a live situation. So what I've gone with my wife, so a lot of jokes obviously come through that. And it's not because she's a woman or because we are partners, we are living together 30 years, like I'll give you an example, I think I can say it, it's going to come on stage. Like me and my wife, we were just in the US recently, and while coming back, she's saying, I have to buy some gift for my friends. And then we were walking, figuring out, because her friends also travel, so now to get a gift for somebody so traveled, also it's difficult, perfume they already have, dresses, I don't know, whether they like this and all. Then she was walking through Victoria's Secret. She's saying, oh my God, I'll buy for them panties, And so we go inside, I'm with her. She's going through that bin of Victoria's. Suddenly she picks up her panties saying, hey, do you think this will fit my friend Aarti? I didn't know whether to answer that. I didn't want to answer that. I said, how the hell do you think I would know Aarti's size? No, you'll say, she's given the joke to me on a silver platter.
Yes, actually. Or maybe it was a trick question.
Yeah, maybe it was a trick question. Maybe it was a
And maybe we should beep out our name.
No, the name is already beeped out. It's a different name altogether.
Who is your favorite female comic?
There are
Who has
a whole lot of
inspired
them.
you?
There are a whole lot of them. In India, Aditi Mittal, one of my
Oh,
colleagues,
yes.
and because when I started doing
amazing.
comedy, she was probably one of the only female comedians up there,
At that
and
time,
she puts
yeah.
in so much hard work into the line. There's so many of them now, who are there. Radhika Vaz, Sindhu V, all these are friends.
She is fabulous.
Yeah, so they're doing such amazing job, and they've put in so much hard work into the craft, Yeah.
Wow. And Dr. Anjali, this is actually a bit serious because it's always, we've spoken about PMS and we've spoken about menopause. Postpartum mental health is never, ever, ever, it's non-existent for us in this country. How can women deal with that? Because it's so big, this postpartum blues, you can be suicidal, you've never been depressed. How do you deal with that?
No, I'm very happy that you brought about this question because it's a very, very important topic. And what I always tell women is the next time you're going to see someone who's delivered a child, instead of looking at the child and saying, oh, ye maa ke jaise dikhta hai, baap ke jaise, actually all kids look like aliens.
So true.
We need to find out how the woman is doing.
yeah, the
Because
mothers,
50% of them go through postpartum blues. That means 1 out of 2. Okay. 10% go through serious depression. Okay, and what happens is because they don't know how to deal with this little child, and there are hormonal changes which are
within the
happening,
body, yes.
because of which you can't sleep, you can't eat, you look at your body and you feel, what's happened to me? Will I ever be able to get into my favorite
normal
jeans?
life.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know, how will I go back to work? How will I leave this?
Baby,
Don't
yeah.
sleep at night. So with all these things, they really go through a lot. Okay, and this needs to be addressed, because if this is not addressed on time, and 1 out of 1,000 can also have psychotic breakdowns. You know, when you read in the newspaper, this mother has thrown her child out. Now this is because the illness has not been picked up. So I've been trying to educate right from gynacs, okay, that after the mother has delivered, what do you do? To women at kitty parties who are grandmothers and great grandmothers, that this is a reality. Please do not think कि मैंने तो 4 बच्चे पैदा किए,
Yeah,
मुझे तो
मैं
कुछ
तो
नहीं
कुछ नहीं
हुआ,
होगा, yeah.
right? And take them to a psychiatrist. There is no harm in giving medication, even if the woman has just delivered. It's not going to affect the newborn.
That's
And even if you have to choose between breastfeeding and a happy mother, I will choose a happy
Happy
mother.
mother.
Yes, absolutely.
Because you can always
it's
give
translated to the
something else.
Yeah.
Because imagine if a mother is not happy, her
It
husband
just-
cannot
yes.
be happy,
Yeah.
her kids are going to be unhappy,
Yes.
and everybody around her is going to be unhappy.
I think postpartum in terms of the percentage, it's 1/3 of, right? It's pretty huge.
Very, very
Like,
huge.
I remember
Mental-
I went through it, Anjali, and I, for the life of me, could not figure out myself what happened. I would, first of all, I would fear for the child. Secondly, I would fear whether I would be able to take care of this new living body that I've given birth to. Thirdly, I'd be sitting there howling endlessly, not understanding why is this happening to me. But I must say, at that time, the support system at home was so incredible, you know. But I think, like Swarn rightly asked, it is very important to address this issue because it is
Yes.
greatly overlooked, you know.
Yes, yes.
So I so agree to this. So Atul, coming to you, please share any experience or any moment or any such incident of a woman who has greatly impacted you and inspired you.
Honestly, my wife inspired me to get into comedy,
Oh, wonderful.
because she was working with me in my computer business, and one fine day she said that, listen, because you're having a lot of fights at work, that fights were coming back home.
Home, yeah.
So she said, listen, I want to do something else. So she always wanted to become a hairstylist. So she convinced my parents, who also were a little initially difficult to convince that, abhi ghar ka business hai, and why you want to suddenly do something hairstyle, so hajam banna hai type. So, but fortunately, my mom was with her, and then she went for a course. She left work, she went for a course. She started doing very well, and then she started inspiring me. Ki, why don't you have something more to your life than just work?
Yes, yes.
So have some other element to your life, and that because I was thinking, like, I was on an IT job, IT company. We were doing pretty well, but just that it was burning you out.
Yes.
So honestly, she inspired me. She
you.
sort of
How sweet is that?
goaded me that you must do something with your life. And honestly, thanks to her, I started trying different things and finally found comedy. And obviously, she was very supportive. My parents were supportive. My children were very supportive initially. Because what happened when she was going through when she started learning her hairstyling, that time the kids were in 7th, 8th, 9th, that kind of thing,
Schooling,
And I remember, I helped her out because she used to go early for a thing. So I should take the children for the football coaching in the morning to Jamnabai school and make them, take up their work. I did that because my dad used to take up our homework. So I saw my dad taking up my homework. And so I used to take my children's homework. In fact, there were incidents like some lady used to call up my wife and say, hello, tomorrow is this project. How do we do it? She said, give my husband. So at work, I'm getting some random lady calling up कि कल जो project दिया है ये कैसे करना है, and I used to give her guidance.
I think that's fabulous.
Progressive men in the family.
And then obviously when I started doing it, she said, oh no, you go out and
And
pursue
I
your
will
thing,
take
and
over the
I'll take care of the
baking
children
again,
at home. So it worked beautifully.
Wonderful. Dr. Anjali, tell me, what are some of the mechanisms that women can adopt to deal with anxiety, stress, overthinking?
So I think the first thing is to be aware that I'm going through something which is not natural, which is not because someone did something to me. One example I give people is, even if now you are in this situation, and how can you come out of it?
Out of it, yeah.
So once you're aware that you're overthinking, you're overanalyzing, how do you stop it? So right from using a rubber band, which all of us have, to pull it and realize,
Yes,
Yes.
that is,
to
yeah.
getting up
So
and
wonderful.
doing something different. It could just be, if you have nothing to do, start cleaning your house, start rearranging your cupboard.
Yeah, but it's very therapeutic.
Yes, start cutting vegetables.
Yeah.
I find
So
ironing
you
very therapeutic.
I find
which is crazy.
washing dishes very
I
therapeutic.
have to give me an iron, and those creases coming out are like, wow. So
I'm sending all my clothes to you.
please. is. I love it. Seriously.
Oh,
I don't know. There's just something about seeing that, the creases go out. It's like,
It's in your control.
yeah.
This is in my
There,
control.
you've
I've ironed out these creases.
Yeah.
Now I can iron out other
that's
creases. So I think one is being aware. Two is talking to maybe 3 people about it.
But then
You know?
talking becomes gossip, you see.
No,
That's
so
another
you have
big
to
fear.
identify 3 people. I think everybody in their life has 3 people who they can talk to without feeling judged.
I
It's
have
just,
Swarn.
there we are.
Absolutely.
There we are. You know?
For starters.
Yeah. So once you talk to someone, they will help you. Ki, no, this is not about you. If somebody else is trying to, put something on you, it is up to you whether you want to take it or you want to say, no, this is not about me. And I am not going to be responsible, for something, and then taking help for it. And when you're taking help, see, it's like this. I mean, today if there's a plumbing issue in your house, you're going to call a plumber.
Yes.
Right? So similarly, if you have a mental health issue, please consult a mental health specialist. Don't go around beating around the bush and, saying, I'll go here, I'll go there, So I think that is what we need to understand, and we need to start doing it, because every day you're mentally ill, you're wasting a day.
That's so true.
This
wasting
shrink
a
and the
brain
nut,
life.
what we actually used to tell youngsters is to identify signs within your friends. So in your school, college, you had these best friends, 5 of you, 6 of you, So if suppose one of them stops coming to college, grades start falling, disconnects from social media, they are signs. So the thing is, you don't go and give gyan because you're not knowledgeable. Your thing is to just recognize these signs, pick them up,
Identify, yes,
and take them to the nearest mental health counselor. You don't give advice like, "Chal daru peete hain, ye karte hain, wo karte hain." No, not that. You just take them, and and also sometimes listen to them. Non-judgmentally.
And also through the shrink and the nut, what is the one thing you all have discovered about each other? I'm sure there's a lot over, your siblings, but through this show that you all have discovered about each other.
I think she's a little bit funny.
And you can also do some good work.
And okay, a lot of things men say we don't understand about women, women say we don't understand about men. So what is the one thing women need to know about men, and what is the one thing men need to know about women?
You want to go first?
I think it's women need to understand that it's okay if the cupboard is untidy. It's okay. It's not a big deal if the t-shirts are not arranged properly. It's okay. No, I think that's in humor. But I think there are a lot of things that obviously women also need to, we also require a space. We also go through menopause, as you said. The word was andropause. Sorry, yeah. So so I think some things like these.
I think men need to understand that women sometimes when they're talking, they just need to be heard. They don't want a solution.
Yes.
They don't want a solution, because the minute a woman starts talking, the man will say, "Aisa nahi karo, waisa karo," and she gets upset. Allow me to talk, let me finish.
That's so true. And if by a strange quirk of fate, you'll wake up one day as the opposite sex, what would y'all do? One thing y'all would do if you woke up as a man and...
I think I would sleep and not feel guilty about it.
What about you, Atul?
Even I would sleep and not feel guilty about it.
Atul, how do you use humor to address more serious issues, social issues, and create awareness?
I love doing that.
All the time.
Yeah, I love doing that. It's idea to see. It's not to make fun of the topic. It's to raise awareness. So I think comedians use it day in and out. Could be political issues, could be social issues. Could be so many things. Could be just issues about the caste system, even though I may not be the right person to say it because I am obviously upper caste and things like that, or whatever, privileged I would say. So I don't have that, but comedians use it day in day out. They're nowadays, that day I read, I know some of them, there are a group of Dalit comedians who are talking about issues about what they are going through. Can you imagine that kind of a voice, that kind of a story coming from a small town? Is amazing.
Amazing. It's absolutely amazing.
Yeah, so it's a lot of these issues which are getting addressed, and stand-up comedy is a great platform
to spread
as long as you so I always believe at the end of your set, when people go home after seeing your show, should take back something.
Something
Yes.
always, always.
Yeah. And I try my best to put in some of these small things everywhere. Yeah.
What would your advice be to the women who are very reluctant to address issues of mental health? What is your advice to them, because they're not very forthcoming to talk about it,
Right.
you know?
So what, I think I keep telling them is we need till you will not get out of your fears. You're going to be there. And when you're there, you're not going to give your fullest capacity
yes.
to life
Yes.
and not get it back also. So I think we need to just break those shackles and start.
And what would be your advice to your 18-year-old selves?
To me,
Yeah, to you, to 18-year-old Anjali and 18-year-old Atul, to yourself.
I don't think I want to change anything.
Nice.
I
That's
think
awesome.
I would just tell myself, okay, just continue doing what you're doing. And luckily, I have a fantastic family who believed in me. Whether I had pink hair or whether I wanted to be a psychiatrist 35 years back.
That's
you know.
amazing.
So I wouldn't want to change anything.
So Atul, tell me, if you were to perform a comedy roast on a famous personality, who would it be?
Usually you take the highest thing. So, I don't know, in Bollywood, I would probably roast like Mr. Bachchan, I mean, though I think he's pretty cool. He'll take any roast. He's been roasted by media throughout his life. And, roast is already very negative. I would just, have fun
In a
with him.
positive way, in a
Have
more
fun
funny
with him.
way,
Like you've
yeah,
seen,
in a more comic way, in a
abroad,
humor
when,
way.
you have these roasts which happen, the proper roast of Donald Trump, roast of Justin Bieber.
Yes.
So, over there, they take it as a pride that I have been called to be roasted. You have achieved something that I've. So yeah, maybe, and there are so many, like Shah Rukh Khan, for example, he'll be damn fun to roast because he can take a joke and he will give you 6 back.
He has very
Right,
self-deprecating
absolutely,
humor,
yeah,
actually.
Yeah. So, yeah.
And who would you roast if you could? Or who would you like to analyze?
I think my job is to empathize. I don't roast. I understand. I empathize.
One question which I need to answer, what I would be in my what would I tell my 18-year-old self?
Yes, sorry.
I would tell him to travel more as a youngster, alone, do a lot of solo traveling, learn as many languages I could. Like, I obviously know the Hindi, English, Sindhi a little bit, but I would probably, learn. I'm still not too late to learn. I can still learn, but maybe a German or a Spanish. And I think travel the world. So a lot of people, young people ask me, so what advice you'll give me? I'll say just travel the world, because you'll learn so many things.
So much when you're traveling.
And
absolutely.
it is expensive, but not so expensive, So you can do a backpacking, tour across anywhere, And nowadays it's obviously much easier to do it than what it was during my time.
One thing which I would tell myself as an 18-year-old, don't take yourself so seriously. Jo
so
karna hai
true.
karo.
Yes, I think yes.
No, I think we take ourselves too
We're all
seriously.
guilty of that. Listen. Atul, what is the one piece of advice you would like to give a young lady who wants to enter into the stand-up field?
That's the advice I would give all comedians, in spite of being female. But maybe, first of all, it's hard work. Making people laugh is difficult. Yeah. So you have to hit the stage as much as possible. You can, probably every day of the week, because the more you get better. Number 2 is write original stuff. And third would be, come and watch like live stand-up comedy. Don't watch comedy sitting at home on Netflix, YouTube and all that. When you see live, you learn a lot, And if you're a female comedian, I would say please follow all the other female comedians like Aditi, Sindhu, all the names which I've said. And just to let you know, this year, the Edinburgh Fringe Festival, which is supposed to be the biggest arts festival in the world, the person who won the Best Newcomer Comedy Award was an Indian female comedian called Uruj Ashfaq.
Oh, wow.
So first time ever an Indian comedian has won the Best Newcomer Award at the Edinburgh Fringe Festival, and it was Uruj,
Wow.
So yeah, so it's fantastic. So, so follow her, go watch a comedy, and you learn a lot from watching live comedy than watching on YouTube. Yeah.
On YouTube, yeah.
We just have a quick rapid fire. If it's good with you guys. So we'll go first with Atul.
Is there a hamper?
Yeah.
Big, rich hamper like Karan Johar.
We'll get there one day. So Atul, tea or coffee?
Coffee, always.
Mountains or beaches?
Beaches.
Morning person or night owl?
Night out.
Action films or romantic comedies?
Action films.
Instagram or Twitter?
Twitter.
Oh, really? You're the X-Man.
I love to fight on Twitter.
Books or movies?
Movies.
Dogs or cats?
Dogs.
Sneakers or formal shoes?
Sneakers.
Comedy or drama?
Comedy.
Vintage or modern fashion?
Modern fashion.
Netflix or cinema?
Netflix.
Cooking at home or dining out?
Dining out.
Road trip or flying?
Fly.
Music or podcasts?
Music.
Summer or winter?
Summer.
Anjali.
I'll take over for Anjali. Pizza or sushi?
Sushi.
Oh, lovely. Comedy club or music concert?
Music concert.
Sunsets or sunrises?
Hello?
Sunset.
Did you realize?
Yes, I
Did you see the?
did. So, fiction or non-fiction?
Non-fiction.
Sneakers or shoes? Or boots?
Sneakers.
Tattoos or no tattoos?
Tattoos.
Oh,
Though I don't have one as yet.
which one would you like to have if you did?
Pause.
Nice.
Beach vacations or European adventure?
European adventure.
Lovely. Yoga or gym?
Yoga.
Comedy roast or serious conversation?
Comedy roast.
Any day, yeah? Stand-up comedy or acting comedy?
Stand-up comedy.
Classical
Thank you.
music or rock music?
Classical music.
Black and white films or colored films?
Colored films.
Anjali and Atul, it's been such a pleasure to have you siblings on our show.
Thank you.
And we are so thankful to both of you for giving us such wonderful insights into humor and mental health. And we hope to have you soon once again.
Thank you so
One
much. Thank you
Conversation
so much.
was not enough. It's been such a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
And as a token of appreciation and love from our side, we have a small hamper, not Karan Johar size. Be the pink table, love
That's
size.
anything does.
Our
Yeah.
hearts are big.
Thank you so much.
That's
Thank you.
really
Thank you. Thank you so
Thank you.
much. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.